大家好，我叫大金鹏. Hi everyone, my name is Ben Sager, and as you guys can see from the title of the video, that this video is going to be about me going back to the orphanage, and then again went back through the footage, and there's just like me not talking anything really about my experiences going back to the orphanage and how I felt. A little bit of a heads up, I'm getting over a cold, so if I sound a little bit funny or weird or stupid, honestly, then you know why. But before we go to the orphanage, I actually needed a lot of help for translating and actually finding an agency to get me admitted into the orphanage that I grew up in. And I wouldn't have been able to do that without my boss's business partner, Xia Yang. The week before, I had visited her stores in Nanjing, um, and we caught up a lot, talked a lot about what she does with basically the ice cream. But yeah, she helped a lot with getting in contact with the agencies, but then also doing a lot of the heavy translating work for me because, yeah, my Mandarin is just not up to par. And so I really would not have been able to do this without Xiaoyang. The morning I went to the orphanage, I was pretty nervous and my stomach was filling off, but that could have been because I don't eat breakfast usually, typically. And then I met my tour guide and then Xiaoyang at a Starbucks. Go figure. Uh, and my tour guide basically told me what we were going to do for that day. We were going to visit the orphanage. A few of the aunties were going to be brought back to visit me. And then I was going to go to the location of the old orphanage because they basically rebuilt and then reconstructed a lot of things. And then after that, we went to the location that I was dropped off as a baby wrapped up. I met with Xiaoyang and my tour guide on a Wednesday morning at Starbucks, and I was feeling pretty nervous. But once when my tour guide kind of told me everything that we were going to do, it helped calm me down a lot because now I kind of knew what to expect. But essentially, my day was broken up into the morning to early afternoon being at the orphanage, the new location, and then we went to the old location of the orphanage that got turned into an old folks home, and then we went to the location that I was dropped off at, which ended up being a shopping mall. But the first thing that we did, we went to the location of the new orphanage, and it was very clear just from going to the outside that they put a lot of resources and time into it because they had multiple different buildings, each with its own functionality for the kids, for the adults as well. And um, while I was there, I had met with the person who basically guided us throughout the building and the new complex, as well as three of my aunties or caretakers who helped me while I was there for being an orphan and all. But two of them, I had no idea who they really were, even though they told me that they took care of me. And then one of them was a familiar presence, but she was still someone who I wasn't like able to recognize. But I had wanted to have some private time with her so that way we could talk. But either that got lost in translation or it was just not permitted. Either way, um, we had basically talked about the new location, why they changed location, as well as some of the kids as well. And it was kind of disheartening to see some of the ratios or proportions of why, or of like the kids who have medical needs and assistance to those who don't require so much attention. And the only part that actually made me really, really, I don't know if I guess emotional was seeing the aunties crying when they had to depart from the kids that they took care of for a long time because it's clear that they had cared for their kids, and it was something that before going to the orphanage and growing up I never appreciated how much my parents like I didn't appreciate how much my parents care for me. I didn't appreciate how much time and resources were also put into taking care of me. And I also didn't appreciate my caretakers growing up for basically helping me to get adopted, helping me to grow and develop in those early years of my life. And that was something that the realization kind of hit in conjunction with realizing that like these aunties are very caring. They love the kids that they work with. That was something that broke my stoicism. But besides that, it was actually funny because they had gotten some lunch for me and they prepared some like fried chicken and French fries because they weren't sure if I had Americanized my palate or not. But I still was eating the traditional, like more traditional Chinese food that they also have prepared, and they all were very happy to see that I still clearly liked traditional Chinese food. So, one of the more interesting things that I wanted to talk about, and there were a few of them, is the fact that in the room for guests, like basically their welcoming center, they have a picture of kids holding Teletubbies, and I'm in the picture. Why am I in the picture? Um, but yeah, like I was also in the promotional video. I was like catching some birds and then riding down a slide. I don't know how much of that I can put into the video, but anyways, it was just like, why am I in all this? And they had a lot of pictures of me naked, and I'm like, why though? anyways, anyways, a couple other noteworthy things that happened while I was at the orphanage was that they clearly had saved and cataloged everything that they have for their orphans and for their kids because they had the original copies of all the documents from the adoption process, as well as they had like a handprint of my child hand, and it was just really unique. But they definitely cared a lot for the kids, and that was very heartwarming, I would say. But a couple of the other things that were really interesting to me was they guided me to basically this toy store, and what happens is if kids behave or they do something right, then they get credits, and they take these credits to a bank that they have right across from the toy store, um, and exchange it for some cash that they can go and buy whatever toys they want. They have vending machines, they have claw machines, they have different aisles for the toys. They have shopping carts for the kids. It was all like really, really interesting. And then um, the entire place is basically set up with the buildings having different functionalities. One was a kitchen, one was for the kids to study and learn, one was a dormitory, different ages, different groups. When I went there, there was less than 20 kids, and they were all in the between the two buildings. They have a little bit of a what's that called, like a garden play area, and it was really interesting, and the kids were dancing and playing around. So after we left the orphanage, Xiaoyan dropped me and my tour guide to the location of the old orphanage, and they gave us like about an hour tour of the old folks home now. But they maintained the structural foundation of the old location. It was just the interior that got changed up a little bit so that it was more friendly and accessible for the elderly. And because the interior was changed up quite a bit, it was hard for me to kind of like recall some of my childhood memories. But there was this one hallway that connected the two buildings that I took a picture of. It was really the only thing I remember because I remember as a kid, all of us kids would kind of stand in the hallway and we would look out whenever we knew people were coming in, either if it was prospective parents or whatever the deal was. But it was a very vivid memory for all of us, and it was something that happened a lot. And I think for me, at least, it was, am I going to be the next kid who gets adopted? And are we going to have a family soon? And that was part of it for us. But we also knew that a lot of times when parents came, they would bring gifts, they would bring candy, they would bring toys and stuff like that. So that was also a lot of our excitement as well. But in terms of everything else, they changed the front play, or not necessarily play area. They had a playground, but they changed it to be again used for something else. They changed the front courtyard into also being more or less for just like a garden space for the elderly. And then the last thing that we did was my tour guide took me to the location of the mall that I got dropped off at, and I think that they might have had CCTV. Hopefully, that would be a lead for me to go to find my parents. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and that if you guys know someone who is adopting or parents who are looking or are interested in adopting, to share it with them. or if they are adoptees themselves, then to also share it with them, because I hope this provides some insight in terms of things that they might feel and how it might come out for their own experiences for them going back into the foster care orphanages or whatever organization it is, um, and that they may be feeling all of the same things or they're not feeling the same things at all. But yeah, I'm going to put my other social medias in the description. So have a good day. Bye.